Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. Today, Duane Toews visits with Tanner Ehmke with Cobank's Knowledge Exchange Division about how last year's problems for producers affected the end user. Next up, Greg Akagi brings us the Kansas soybean update. Then Duane talks to Sara Place with Elanco Animal Health. She addresses sustainability, and beef producers have a positive story to tell regarding their industry. Meet the Quillen family, one of Kansas Farm Bureau's 10 farm families of the year. And Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane will wrap up the show. It's all coming up on Farm Factor. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Kansans have a new choice for Medicare supplement insurance plans. With Medicare supplement insurance plans from Kansas Farm Bureau, you have access to 4 levels of coverage, affordable rates, and service from an organization that's served Kansans for more than 100 years. For more information on Kansas Farm Bureau Medicare supplement plans, including rates and to apply, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Join us for the 3rd annual Early Bird Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, January 27th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 225 Angus bulls and 120 Gardner-influenced AI-bred commercial Angus heifers. The catalog is available at GardnerAngus.com. You can watch and bid online at liveauctions.tv. Don't just buy a breed, buy a brand. At Gardner Angus Ranch's Early Bird Bull Sale, January 27th, Ashland, Kansas.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first, Duane Toews talks with Tanner Ehmke about the issues that producers had in 2019 and how they affected the end users.
Duane Toews joining you once again. An opportunity to catch up with Tanner Ehmke with Cobank, division or part of the farm credit systems in the United States. Tanner, we think about the kind of year it's been for row crop and grain farmers in general. Some trying times, and that's led to not only problems for producers but end users as well.
To say the least, it's absolutely been an interesting year in 2019 for farmers and ranchers, given the growing season that we've had. You know, the crop was planted late in the spring, and that's culminated in a late harvest, and that's created a whole lot of issues in itself that has a rippling effect, Duane, into the supply chain. With anybody touching the grain, there's going to be some impacts there. You've got some frost issues that have caused quality problems with crops that were planted late and they were delayed in maturity, and so the frost impacted those crops, and that's going to raise issues with test weights, things like that. You also have this ongoing harvest that's been delayed. It's been going in fits and starts because of all the rain and the snow, so that raises quality issues there with sprouting grain, wet grain, mycotoxins. All those things have to be managed by your local grain elevator, and that's a lot to juggle for the elevator. And at the same time, because you have this prolonged harvest, that's going to result, or that is resulting in a much tighter basis. And so the elevators are having to buy basis at a much more expensive level, and that's really going to cut into their profit margins. So I know there may be some farmers out there complaining about the price of grain and saying, well, the elevator, they're probably profiting off of my misery, and that just is not the case. The elevators are sharing in this very stressful year right there with them.
We think about, you'd referenced all of the things that can go wrong, seems like have this year in terms of what we've thrown at our cropping systems. But you referenced that has implications on the backside as well, all the way to the end user.
The end users need to get their hands on grain. If you're an ethanol plant, you need corn or sorghum. If you're a livestock operator and you need to get your hands on corn and soybeans or any other feed. And when you've got a shortage in pipeline supplies, that causes some uncertainty. And this year, really across the country, it's been one of those years where you're not quite certain what the local supply is going to be because there was so much prevent plant. There was a lot of acres that were planted so late, so you're not quite certain about what the yield is. And then in some areas, like in Kansas, there's just no place to put all the grain. I mean, piled on ground, sitting in storage. So that's an entirely different issue for the grain elevator to handle. And so really it has a rippling effect across the supply chain. Now some have benefited in local areas where you've got surplus of grain. If you're a cattle feeder out west in western Kansas and the price of wheat is below the price of corn, that's not a bad problem to have. But it is a problem if you're a farmer. And so it's just one of those years that on the whole, the uncertainty caused by the weather, now we'll throw in trade just on top of that, it's been a very stressful year for farmers and grain handlers all the way around.
We think about really it's kind of a distribution problem then as well between the feast and famine areas.
That's right, and that's going to be figured out with basis. The local markets are going to be trying to move grain through arbitrage. You're going to have perhaps really, really tight basis in some areas, and then basis might be wider in another. And so they're going to see more volatility. We're especially seeing that in the eastern Corn Belt, where in regions like Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, there was a lot of prevent plant in those areas, a lot of fields that have uncertain yield, and so what you're seeing is volatility there. And if you're a grain elevator manager, that volatility is not fun to manage.
Well, our thanks to Tanner Ehmke with Cobank. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. After the break, it's this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Dennis Hoopy joins us, Director of Field Services with Kansas Soybeans. Dennis, coming up on Friday, January 24th, will be the 2020 Kansas Commodity Classic.
It's a combination of the 4 main grain commodities, corn, wheat, soybeans, and grain sorghum, getting together each year to help educate and provide information to the producers around the state.
By the way, it's going to be at the K-State Alumni Center in Manhattan. What are going to be some of the topics that are going to take place?
Well, of course, we're going to start off with the Lieutenant Governor Lynn Rogers, and he's going to give us his view of what's happening or what's going to be coming down the pike from the governor's office this coming year, because we'll be 2 weeks into the session, and so it'll be an opportunity for him to update us on what the governor's office is looking for the year. We also have John Felt, who's the founder founder and president of the Blue Water Outlook, which is a private weather firm. And he's going to be there. All farmers, of course, are always interested in what's going on with the weather and what the predictions are. So we're going to have him there to give us his view on the coming year. We will have possibly Senator Moran and Senator Roberts. Of course, it's kind of the swan song for Senator Roberts and the fact that he is stepping down after the next election. But we're hoping that both of them are able to show up. And again, that kind of depends on what's happening in Washington at the time.
You've got the luncheon that will take place and a good afternoon speaker as well.
That we do. Dr. Alan Gray, who's from Purdue University, is going to do a presentation on capitalizing on the greatest sustainability story in history. And, of course, you can't go to any agriculture meeting or any meeting involved with agriculture right now where you aren't discussing sustainability. And it's an important issue, but as Kansas farmers have always proclaimed, we are probably the most sustainable group of individuals there is on the planet, and therefore we want to be able to tell our story and let the people know why we are sustainable.
And there will also be a trade outlook and a farm bill update as well?
That is correct. David Shim will be there providing the farm bill outlook, and we will also discuss trade.
And if people want more information, they can go to the website to register as well at kansascommodityclassic.com. That's at kansascommodityclassic.com. That is Dennis Ehmke, who is joining us, Director of Field Services with Kansas Soybeans, talking about the 2020 Commodity Classic on Friday, January 24th at the K-State Alumni Center in Manhattan. He joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Coming up, Duane Toews talks with Sara Place from Elanco Animal Health about beef sustainability.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer it and work with you.
Join us for the third annual Early Bird Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, January 27th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 225 Angus bulls and 120 Gardner-influenced AI-bred commercial Angus heifers. The catalog is available at GardnerAngus.com. You can watch and bid online at liveauctions.tv. Don't just buy a breed, buy a brand. At Gardner Angus Ranch's Early Bird Bull Sale, January 27th, Ashland, Kansas.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane is visiting with Sara Place from Elanco Animal Health.
Duane Toews joining once again on the program. Our opportunity to catch up with Sara Place with Elanco Animal Health. Talking about sustainability, Sara, certainly we think about the beef cattle industry. They have a positive story to tell, and maybe we haven't done as good a job with consumers as we probably should have.
Yeah, so sustainability, I think it's always good to kind of take a step back. Really, what does it mean? It's about, producing a safe, nutritious food product, right, with economic viability, environmental stewardship, social responsibility, right, and being committed to improving over time. And really that's that ethos of improving over time is evident in the U.S. beef industry. There's been a lot of progress that's been made, a lot of science and dedication that's gone into doing a better job over time.
Talk about the realities of the industry and converting what is an unusable product for most humans into a great nutrient-dense protein product.
Yeah, really, that's kind of the advantage of cattle and other ruminant animals, cattle, sheep, and goats, our farm animals, is they can upcycle protein. And what we mean by that is taking human inedible plants, stuff that we can't eat, right? The grass, the hay, silages, fermented feed, and turning that into a higher value product in the form of beef. Right? And not just value in terms of our eating experience of it, but from a nutritional perspective, right? It is a high quality protein that meets a lot of our needs. And it also has a whole bunch of micronutrients in it too, from vitamin B12 to iron and zinc. And that's kind of that advantage again of ruminant animals, is they really do in a lot of cases take something and make nothing and make something of higher value.
There's been a lot of news and information out there about the carbon cycle, ozone, the environment. Some numbers out there that I guess the cattle industry and agriculture in general really would say aren't fair to those producers.
Yeah, so I think sometimes there's a lot of statistics that get thrown out there in the media, and it can be confusing to know what's true and what's not. So it's always good to take a step back and just look at the official data, right? So if we look at the EPA data, the government inventory for greenhouse gas emissions, 2% of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions come from beef cattle. So any of the methane they belch out, so it's a good thing for viewers to know, right? It's cow burps, not cow farts, right? Keep that in your mind. And it's about, again, 2% of emissions. All of animal agriculture, so all cattle, dairy cattle, sheep, all of our poultry and pork, it's all about 4% of emissions. So it's not nothing, but it's good to keep that in perspective. As if you compare to transportation, it's about 26-27%. Electricity is almost 30% of our emissions. So there's a big difference there in terms of the relative importance of agriculture versus those other sectors of our economy.
We're thinking about that. At the same time, it's providing a food source and certainly is a contributor. But in the big picture of things, when you think about the value that we get nutritionally from it, then it kind of puts things back in perspective.
Absolutely, right? So cattle provide food, they provide sustenance, they provide more than food, right? They're providing all these other byproducts that we get from cattle, from leather, right, to pharmaceuticals, to manure, which is a valuable resource, right, for producing crops. So that's the beauty of agriculture, is if we kind of talk about, green energy or green aspects of our economy, and agriculture really has been the original green part of our economy, right? It's all about nutrient cycling and about trying to recycle nutrients through that system. And that's why livestock and, again, cattle as ruminants are so valuable.
And ultimately, that term sustainability, there's a lot of different people out there with different views on what the parameters are that make that up. It's important to know where they're coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier, everybody kind of agrees, it's got to be about economic, social issues, environmental issues, but where it gets sticky is, well, which one do you prioritize most, right? So everybody's got their different views, and I think that's what's important, is to recognize that doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong. It's just we all have different values that we're bringing to the table. And so hopefully people realize it's going to be a conversation, a two-way conversation. Just the whole point is just to keep it respectful and to just highlight, what we've done that's good in terms of improving, and where our opportunities are to keep improving in the future.
Our thanks to Sara Place with Elanco Animal Health joining us on the program. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break and meet one of Kansas Farm Bureau's Farm Families of the Year.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Now let's meet the Quillen family on this week's Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
Carolyn Quillen grew up working on her family farm. Now she and her husband Dave have taken over and operate the fourth-generation farm together. Thorpe Farm Ranch grows dryland wheat and corn on 5,000 acres, in addition to running cattle on 4,000 acres of pasture. Carolyn and Dave are very active in the Seward County Farm Bureau, serving as president and vice president. The couple participates in county legislative coffee meetings and helps with educational after-school programs. Carolyn is also on KFB's Membership and Promotions Committee. Both have attended the American Farm Bureau annual meeting in Nashville. In their community, the couple are members of the Plains Friends Church and have been Sunday school teachers. They are also members of Friends of the Library and Resource Conservation and Development Council. The Quillens strive to achieve mutual satisfaction for every farmer in each field and continue to make their crop healthier so they can truly feed the world.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Join us for the third annual Early Bird Sale at Gardner Angus Ranch, Monday, January 27th at 10 a.m. Up for sale are 225 Angus bulls and 120 Gardner-influenced AI-bred commercial Angus heifers. The catalog is available at GardnerAngus.com. You can watch and bid online at liveauctions.tv. Don't just buy a breed, buy a brand. At Gardner Angus Ranch's Early Bird Bull Sale, January 27th, Ashland, Kansas.
Clyde Sutton, Nest City, Kansas. Lived on this place all my life. About a year and a half ago, got to where I couldn't saddle a horse. The pain was terrible. Read about stem cell. First it wasn't for me, then they started doing neck and back. Went and had it done. As you can see, I saddled a horse. I'm still building fence. Love to shoot a shotgun rifle, and I'm able to participate, not like I used to, but nevertheless I can do the things I used to do, and life is good.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with Duane Toews.
You're going to run out of air someday doing that.
Yeah, well, I get to catch my breath now while you talk.
Your fact or fiction question of the day, Cal Bowery. Now you got to think, though.
Oh, gosh.
You don't want to think with a low oxygenated brain.
Took all the oxygen away.
A Bitcoin transaction cannot be reversed, or you cannot be forced to pay. Fact or fiction?
Well, gosh. I think that's true. It can't be reversed because that's why a lot of the, I don't want to say bad people, the people that maybe have less than legal businesses sometimes use it. So they're not bad people.
You're not pointing fingers, though.
No, I'm not pointing people. I mean, not pointing fingers. I'll go with true.
That's what it says.
It can't be reversed and
cannot be reversed and or be forced to pay.
Forced to pay?
But if you can't be forced to pay...
What do you mean forced to pay? What's that mean? Well, you're not forced to pay anything, are you?
I mean, if you say, Toews...
You owe me $10.
You owe me 10,000 Bitcoin.
Well, how about just $10? I can't force you to pay me $10.
You can take me to court.
Oh.
But you can't take somebody to court
on
over
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin debt, evidently.
Okay.
Because it's not legal tender, to my knowledge.
Well, it's not. I don't know. Now you're making my head hurt.
You're way over.
Okay, what's the most populous country in the whole world, Duane?
Populous country in the world?
Populous country in the whole world.
China.
Yeah, what's number 2?
India.
What's number 3?
The United States.
Yes, you're right. Okay. So, okay, but that wasn't the question.
Team.
That wasn't the question. But
what do you...
What's number 4?
Oh.
Yeah, because I would have gotten number 3, 1, 2, 3. And by the way, more or less.
Is it by country or did they?
No, it's by country.
They didn't lump the European Union together.
No, it's by country. By the way, China has 1.4 million, and India
billion.
has 1 billion.
Yeah, with a B.
There you go.
Yeah.
And India has 1.36, so they're just
neck and neck
right there. And we're in third at 329
million. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a
third. And the next one behind us is probably about as distant.
Well, it is distant, but it's not that.
I'm going to go with Mexico.
Well, I actually wanted to bring up Mexico eventually. They're number 10 at 127 million. Okay, we're 330, and they're 130 million.
Mm.
Okay. And those two added together still aren't even close
not near.
to either 1 or number 2, but you still haven't told me who number 4 is.
I don't
You're
know.
never, ever going to get it.
I don't have a
Indonesia.
Oh.
Can you even find Indonesia on the map?
It's right north of Australia.
Yeah. Well, is it right? Is it right north?
Islands.
Yeah.
Right
okay.
over there on the wall.
But that's
that
number
nobody can
4.
see.
There's 227 million. Now, my question to you, Duane, if you're the
Those
old boy,
all live in pretty good close proximity to each other, by the way.
yeah,
Basically
that's
greater
Southeast Asia. Well, okay, let me give you number 5, Pakistan.
Okay, that's right.
Just right on the north side of India, right?
Yeah.
And kind of between India and China, or it used to be. I mean, sometimes they change those places, but
it's left.
Oh, it's left. Well, actually, to be honest, what's that little yellow one over there on the right between
Nepal.
China? Okay, that used to be like part of Pakistan too.
Oh.
When I was a boy, when the world was square
and flat.
Exactly.
They drew the lines different.
Yeah, but then you have them in Nepal. Right. I think that's right. By the way, Brazil's number 6. But if you are a person in charge of U.S. international trade,
okay,
who do you try to trade with in general? I don't mean don't name a specific country, but if you're trying to draw a trade deal with somebody, who would you try to get?
I want to go after somebody with a lot of consumers that has money.
Exactly. By the way, have any of those that I've named so far been in Europe?
No.
And oh, by the way, I got clear down to number 15. That's as far as my list goes. And none of those are in Europe.
Oh, they're not even any in the 15.
None of those are in Europe.
Well,
and
henceforth, why are they blocked together as the European Union? Otherwise, nobody'd pay attention to them at all.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.